Hey, it's one of those games that I'm meaning to get to, or wanting to get to, or hoping to get to, and whatnot. There it is, The Forgotten City. Mainly, that's usually true for, like, the top 5 games every poll, and a lot of the other games too, but a lot of the competing ones for the top of the poll are often ones that it's like, one day! And that's a real gambit. It's a real gambit, there's some games I'll talk about playing for a decade and not get to. So originally I wasn't going to play this game, because the developers were like, don't show anything past this point. And I'm like, sure, I'll honor your request by not playing the game at all, because I'm definitely not going to do 75% of a playthrough or something like that. That's a hard no. That's not how I do things. If they had never said that, I probably would have played this game at launch. I think I literally had it cleared in the schedule to do next, basically, and I was like dead set on that, and then I just course corrected at the last second because they were adamant about no spoilers. That is always a mistake. I don't know why developers do that. First of all, someone's gonna play the game, cover the game anyway, but also, like, who is this? Like, there's definitely a part of the audience that wants to watch a game and then be like, oh shit, I'm gonna go play this and get back to you, which is what happens, like, that happened with The Witness, that happens with right now with Elden Ring. Like, people see me launch up the game, they're like, oh shit, I'm gonna go play this now, because you're gonna go in the open world and spoil a bunch of things, so I'll be back later. I'm gonna go play this game for 60 hours. I don't know who the fuck is gonna watch the first 75% of a game and then go home and buy the game and replay all the stuff that they saw already for hours just to get past the one spoiler gate that the developers didn't want to do. Like, I try to deconstruct the thought processes that goes into that particular argument, and it's just not a good one. Like, it's one thing to be like, hey, can you do a little preview where you just play like the first hour of our game? Like that's a reasonable threshold, but these weird late game spoiler gates where they want you to just end your series or stop streaming and stuff. I'm like, I don't know who that audience is. You know the people that are going to do that are going to watch most of a playthrough and then be sad that the guy stopped uploading videos right near the end. They're just gonna find someone who uploaded it anyway. They're not gonna go buy the game at that point, if that was the argument. So that was just not a great idea. So give your audience a spoiler warning before sharing content beyond the white hallway. Well, it's on the main screen, so here's your spoiler warning, guys. Yeah, this used to be don't cover the stuff past that. Now it's just to give them a spoiler warning, which, sure, it's in the video already, though, so hey guys, spoiler warning. Every time I proceed through this game, I will be spoiling what happens next in the game as a linear series of events in a playthrough. That is what happens. And what I don't like about this kind of spoiler thing is that, like, it primes us to be like, oh my god, the white hallway, in a sort of way where, like, Outer Wilds, the DLC, which was incredible, an incredible DLC to incredible game, but it opens with the big, oh my god, scary menu, and that, like, primes you to expect things in the game that you would have not necessarily expected if there wasn't an entire option that popped up mandatory to explain the thing to you. There's just like an awkward thing where now 100% of people are going to know that the white hallway is important, not just people making videos like me, but also everybody who plays this game ever is going to see this thing that talks about this white hallway and be like, yo, I wonder what's gonna happen in the white hallway. I guess that's when I should be like, oh fuck, here it goes. It's like when someone keeps saying, the red wedding, the red wedding, the red wedding, and you're like, what does that mean? And then it's like, oh, it's the red wedding, the thing that I was warned a long time ago to be excited about. I don't know if that's a great gambit. I don't know if that's the outcome they're hoping for narratively to prime everyone for the white hallway, but they've done it now. This is a more negative intro than I expected to do. I'm not going in wanting to hate this game at all. I'm excited to play this game. It sounds really cool. These are a series of little podcast topics that I felt like talking about, because these are all there's definitely a conversation about how content creators and the creators of the content that they use the content creators and the content creators well, people that commentate and react or review or video essay and whatnot versus the people that make the original content that they are reacting to and so on. There's definitely a conversation to be had about what this ecosystem is and how to best handle it. And I find it interesting to point out what I feel like are like several mistakes along the way that are kind of like a misunderstanding of how this thing works. Like, there are definitely people who will watch content about a game and not buy said game. There are other people who will watch content about a game and then buy the game just to support the developer because they want them to do well, and they won't even play the game in some cases. Admittedly, that's how people handle Steam a lot of the time anyways. They buy too many games they don't play. But, sometimes people will buy the game they saw in a series just to support the developer, even if it only results in them making another game that the same content creator covers again, with them still having not played the original game themselves. And then there's a third category, which is fairly common, which is that people, they get their first glimpse of the game, and then they hop in and like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go play this game, I'll be right back. And then also because these videos come out like 4 days a week or whatever, they might beat the whole game before my second video even comes out, and then they're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to watch along now that I've played the game. But I think that the use case of guy who goes back and buys the game 75% of the way into a playthrough, where most of the game's already spoiled and most of the exploration and details and so on, like all the discovery's gone, I don't think that person really exists very much. So this is if any of the people that worked on the game are here, like that's my feedback to this whole thing. It's very much the Persona 5 thing, except without the part where you threaten to destroy my channel from orbit, like Persona 5's developers did, or PR, or whoever the fuck, Atlas USA or something, or Atlas Japan, or both. Anyway, this game's nuts. It's another game in a category. I don't know. I have not seen any actual gameplay yet, but I know that it's another non-linear time travel mystery game, which I've covered a few of, like the Sexy Brutale, and I guess Outer Wilds, yeah. And this is a fun category. Unheard, and maybe at some point I'll get to the Invisible Hours, I think it's called, from the Sexy Brutale people, Tequila Works. But this is a fun genre. I like this genre. And this one in particular has a weird backstory of being a Skyrim mod. So it was originally a mod for Skyrim, and then I guess it must have done well enough or got enough attention that they thought that they could convert it into its own standalone game, which it now is. And that is a really cool narrative to have there. I like it when someone goes from that like ultra indie sort of angle and then eventually is able to convert it into like a full project in that sort of way, because indie development's great. And I can see why that might lead to this insecurity and fear where they're afraid to, have like YouTubers only damage but not help their project or something, which is probably why they're so defensive and like trying to make all these steps to like protect themselves and so on. I just think they roll the wrong ones. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this and I'll film a full-size episode that does not include this rant so that this isn't like eating into our duration. Alright, video start, but like for realsies now. Copy paste that, there's a feedback button. Copy paste that entire discussion to that. 3 people made this over the course of 4 years. This is a mystery adventure with multiple endings. It rewards thoughtful conversation, exploration, and not brute force. The fate of the city is in your hands. Present day. I'm gonna get presents?
Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are?
My brain is loose change. Is this the... Oh, it's a gender select. I gotcha. Oh, select your body type. These old-timey coins. Look at you. Whoa, my hands. I thought something was going on at first, but no, it's switching live. Gotcha. Enter. And oop. Okay. That's an interesting way to convey it. Just live, you're just watching it switch out. Okay. Why don't I ever have a name ready? Admittedly, I didn't know the name of my character in this. I thought it was voice acted. I think it probably still is. Yog. Hang on a minute. That might be thematically a problem.
Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river? What's the last thing you remember?
Well, by any chance were the 2 coins that I was just looking at on my eyes? Oh, you pick a class. So there's... I was searching for ancient ruins. Archaeologist, years of studying history give you occasional insights into the ancient world. Soldier. I was on a covert mission. You have a military-issued firearm, but only 10 bullets. You'll have to use them judiciously, since there's no way to get more. Fugitive. I was on my run from the law. Your time on the run from authorities made you quick on your feet, and you're 25% faster when sprinting. Barely remember anything. Amnesiac. Your recent head trauma has increased your pain threshold, making you 50% harder to take down. This game has a lot more combat stats than I expected. So that's interesting. I guess that it does feed into it being a Skyrim-y mod thing. I guess being a mystery game from an indie developer, I kind of expected it to be like entirely dialogue and environmental interactions. Well, I mean, the choice is obvious. One, this isn't that far from just being a geologist. It is fairly far, but like, obviously, out of these options, the one that gives me more story and context is the one that I'm going to pick. So I was searching for ancient ruins.
Oh, you're an archaeologist? Then you'll definitely want to hear this. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some ruins just behind you. Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped, or injured, or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him. If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please?
I know you just woke up drifting down the river, but can you go on like a dangerous adventure for me? Mind if I ask some questions first?
Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy. What do you want to know?
What's your story?
Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean?
You're not even gonna tell me your name?
Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you.
What? That is really unusual, given the context. Why don't you want to tell me?
All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
All those Karen memes have really ruined the name, huh?
Yeah, something like that. But right now, I have bigger problems, like finding Al.
She genuinely didn't want to introduce herself at all because her name is Karen? I don't know if it's gotten that bad. All right, who's Al?
He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is.
Where are we?
You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber.
What can you tell me about the ruins?
Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. Al...
Same thing, honestly. I'm gonna steal your man. Have you tried calling for help?
What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me.
That's all the questions I had.
Great. So you're ready to go look for Al?
You can call me Al. I can't not think of that song. Let's see. Alright, I'm in.
Thank you. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Please, hurry. Oh, and he left this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
Oop. I thought it was glitching out for a second there before I realized what was happening. Quid pro quo. You can be my bodyguard. I can be your long-lost pal. I can call you Eddie. Any way you want to. Call me Al. Anyone that doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Usually the weirdest things I say mean something. Somewhere. You can hear something. Wildlife. Hello. What is, why does the light look like a stream? That's interesting. Like it's moving actively. I wonder why. Some beautiful ruins. I've obviously been playing a lot of Elden Ring lately, so this like almost like rimlit ruins stuff in dark caves and whatnot is surprisingly familiar territory to be walking through right now. Oh, hey. Al's note. If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Al Worth.
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten. All knowledge of it lost, except in the Latin inscription here. It reads, "You who wish to..."
Oh. Well, I guess it's a good thing I read it already. It had an audio log, and then 1 second later interrupted it with the game. Alright. That's pretty common, even in AAA games. But one day people will figure this out.
Wish to enter the city.
What?
Step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain. For this shall be their final resting place. Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there, against the odds? It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation, or a warning. Al Worth.
Memenice semper vigil abant. Enjoy picking apart that pronunciation. Always remember they're watching. Thanks, archaeologist. I can almost imagine a different version of this intro where you pick up, your character picks up the note, but then in like a sort of like pre-animated sequence, he like holds it up to read it while stepping forward, and then the floor collapses under him with the weirdly drawn horses, and then as you come out of the pool, it starts playing the audio log instead of the interruption. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. Pro peccata. I don't know how to pronounce most of this, to be honest. Also, those are V's, so that's I'm in trouble already. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. But no, I was actually impressed that it came back, and it came back and read the rest afterwards. A broken cell phone. It probably belonged to Al. It's of no use down here. Well. So we've established that me and Al both don't have cell phones, which really cuts down on our ability just to do much at this point. There's whispers and golden people. I gotta... It's pretty close, but I've gotta calm this down a little bit. A non-uniform slider. That's good enough. There you go. This is spooky. So you can only read all the graffiti and signs if you're an archaeologist. A very good background to have then. This guy had a bad time. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. A reoccurring warning. There's a scraping in the background. An ancient Roman mosaic depicting a godlike figure turning a man into gold. It is the touch of Midas, right? That's the one? You got the Midas touch. Ooh. A young Roman woman in a pose of lamentation. Surprisingly lightweight, as it turns out. Well, you're running right now. A Roman gladiator mid-stride. What could make a gladiator... What could have made a gladiator flee? Probably being turned into a golden statue. Judging by how everyone else is... A lot of these people are in poses like they're actually statues, but then... Ooh, that's the whole ceiling and being gold. But you... are literally running in the middle of the place. You could have been from there. This could be like, oh, he got knocked over somehow by that, and maybe Al stood him up. But it sure seems like they're setting up what's gonna happen. Get rid of this light. Bathed in gold. So things aren't well, huh? Like at all? A young Roman woman. Looks like she was begging for her life. Kudos in being able to judge age from a statue. That's reflective. One of the least helpful textures for guessing what someone's face looked like exactly. Reflection definitely obscures a lot. So things are bad. Quick save. A Roman military commander attempting to scramble away from something. A Roman legionary in a state of terror. Oop. Such a mix of people who are posed in a tragedy sort of major way, like they're candid, and then people that are like posed on pedestals like they were always supposed to be there. But the two are both equally aghast. Like somebody's just midway through the process of adorning the place with the statue people, but there's still ones lying around. That misty gradient is satisfying. This is just an aesthetic I like. I just like seeing this in games when there's just the big, dark, gloomy area where everything's kind of like backlit by the illuminated mist that gets more and more obscuring the further it goes, and then there's just these pinpricks of light. It's always a fun time. It's always kind of satisfying. Definitely some of the blue-orange contrast going on. That thing that got heavily overused in the 2000s. But it's also like a natural example. Follow Al's trail. Hanging golden statue. A golden statue of an old man wearing modern clothing. This must be Al. But how's that possible? So turn back. The guy you're here to find is a statue. And is hung, and not that way, and It's apparently... How long did she say it's been? It's the same night, isn't it?
To whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. And here there are only two options: death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
I was gonna say, can I just go back? But then I remembered that I fell down a chute into the water. You really did not give her enough of an out on what to do if something went wrong, did you? You essentially trapped her to find out next. Like, if I don't come back, then she's gonna come in probably and try to find out what happened. Then Karen's in trouble. And her greatest sin was caring, after all. In a state of panic. Yes, I can hear you. Not that you can hear me, ironically. What is that pool? I think is that grass? I guess it might be moss down here. Thought it was like a stagnant green pool at first. A Roman man on his knees as if begging his gods for mercy. I don't know, it might be time to figure out how to climb back up that place. Those aren't even gold, that's just bones. The remains of a human, whoever it was, died a long, long time ago. I don't know, a pack of wolves can skeletonize 30 seconds. Oh, sliders. Well, hello. A Roman relief depicting a great circular portal and two women. I wonder who they could be. Those palms? Dreaded palms? Keep coming up for me lately in things. Spending a lot of time in Rome lately in video games. Related places. That guy, is that person gold? You're not gold. Oh.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina?
I am Yogg, and I've come from the future.
No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, you know, not right in the head? That's all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here.
I'm perfectly right in the head. I just named myself after a game where the city dies in 6 weeks and you got to make the right choices. Or is it 6 or 4? Oh no, now I'm forgetting. Anyway, given the context, I might be a rather distressing name for my protagonist to have, to be the Yogg. Seriously, what's today's date?
We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say early March?
What year?
It's 817 AUC. Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the empire are you from, exactly?
So it's 65 CE. I'm gonna say this out loud and he won't know what I'm meaning, so it's not very useful.
CE? No idea what you're talking about. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine.
Your laws?
Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming?
All right, lead the way.
Follow me. When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community now.
Is that the actual sky up
Only
there?
23 of us at the moment, if you count the 3 who are missing. No idea how, since nobody knows a way out. But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in, if you're not careful.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your handsome new friend, Galerius?
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
That sounds like a crime. That sounds like vote tampering.
I'd stay clear of it and her, if I were you. She's... it's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat. Huh. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Galerius, you're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please.
Y'all only have like 20 people and you managed to introduce class anyway? What's this about?
I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the golden rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the election later today.
Alright, lead the way.
Follow me. The only thing you really need to understand right now is the golden rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way. When I was serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9.
Whatever are you wearing?
One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective.
Decimation.
We call it decimation.
Oh, sorry, I ruined the
Seems like
punchline.
rough justice to you. You're in for a rude shock. Because the golden rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. He's up these stairs.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name?
I'm Yogg.
A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great learning. We're always happy to welcome another scholar to our little community. Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure.
Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains many hundreds of years ago.
It's beautiful. Also, you managed to judge my... How bad is my accent if you got a judgment of it in 2 words, one of which was my name?
Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin?
Bro, you and me already have problems. A city without sin? You guys already have class stratification where that guy has to go work the farms all the time and gets like treated like shit even though he's got like the most important job. What do? You're a guy that rules over only like 20 people. No, 19 people. One of them's your own guard. 18 people. That's not very many people. I have literally had control over more people as a 6th grader in elementary school when I had to lead the class once on something. Like, cause classrooms have like 35 kids. You've got 18 grown-ass adults that are already being governed by the golden rule, and you're gonna be like, oh, haha, it is me, the leader. I can justify my existence. What is this hierarchy? How is that not a sin? Also, what does the guard do if no one's can sin? What does he do all day? Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin? Yes.
Well, I'm not sure I believe that. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away.
There's a few things, like, how do you know someone... I guess you already said why you think someone's gonna break the Golden Rule, but like, you think there'd be like a doubt or curiosity problem here? Like, it's a lot of people to all have agreed the Golden Rule definitely exists based on like no evidence. There's just like a claim on one tablet or something, right? But like, there's not like people who are themselves like you can't really. It's not a thing you can like test. Sort of like a Russian roulette situation. You don't know there's a bullet in the gun until it's too late. I guess you technically never know if it's... well, it's a multiplayer game. That's a dark sentence. But if everyone dies the moment anybody does something wrong, then like that's it. It could have never happened before, because then everyone would be gone. So you'd think that there'd be like a doubter that would kind of endanger anyone anyway. So I'm shocked anything could have lasted this long. But I'll suspend disbelief, because that's the premise that we're starting with. But I feel like the sin would happen real quick, especially since any group of any list of sins I've ever seen real quickly has some real dumb inclusions. What counts as a sin here?
An intelligent question. There was a good deal of debate about that in our first weeks here.
Oh God, you don't know?
Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries.
So it raises all sorts of questions, like, is not praying enough a sin or something? If I punch you right now, does everyone die instantly? Like, that's terrifying. They don't even know the list of sins, so they have to like kind of guess. How have they not fucked up yet? That's insane. I thought there'd be like commandments or something to make it clear what it is. They're doomed. Like, every time I play like Outer Worlds or something, I pick up the wrong pencil and I'm like, oh no, that pencil had a red name. That means someone owned it, and now everyone's shooting me over a pencil. Like, except now it's the entire city is dead and turned into gold. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. What is legal isn't always moral, and many of your laws and customs are considered barbaric where I'm from.
Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years, she has borne great statesmen, philosophers, poets, artists, and engineers. We have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric?
In a way, yeah, like, you guys got the, I mean, isn't the origin of the word barbarian literally you guys labeling everyone that isn't you, essentially? Kind of like how Christians labeled everyone else pagans that came before, and so on. And the sexual preference thing might be anachronistic? I'm trying to think. There's a thing where, like, yes, there's this reputation for them being way more openly queer and so on in a way that was cool, but also there's this element of like tops got to maintain their masculinity, but if you bottomed, then it was like that was disgraceful in this weird, fucked up mind paradox kind of way. So there's things going on there, like, all over the place. And I'm sure there's a lot that is not great. Yeah, collective punishment's pretty bad. There's a lot of things going on here. The blood sports, the persecution. The part where they're an empire is pretty bad. Generally speaking, he called himself a civilizing force, which is a lot of red flags, honestly. A lot of people don't want to get civilized, which is euphemism for, you know, the colonialism that you're doing and whatnot. But you find yourself a nice word for it so that you can justify it. There's nothing more dangerous than somebody that thinks that they're like unequivocally in the right, because that means they're not being self-critical in a way that can lead to them doing all sorts of horrible things, which is you know how every power structure works. I'm gonna have fun with this game. Look at all these fun little rants we're going on. Don't you practice collective punishment?
Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a disciplined, formidable legion.
Don't women have fewer rights than men?
Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer
Oh, fuck you.
responsibilities. And the right to be protected by their fathers and husbands.
They have fewer rights to protect them. Okay, yep. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. Don't your laws allow slave ownership?
Of course. What else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well.
He says, of course, in response to all of them. He's reliable. Don't your people watch blood sports for entertainment?
On occasion. But our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway. I do not see the harm.
The harm is the blood. It's really easy to see. It contrasts brilliantly against all the white people when the red comes out. Don't you persecute Christians?
You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being angry about that.
Where I'm from, we consider those things abhorrent.
Well, right now, you're a long, long way from home. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you.
What did you mean when you said Proserpina sent me? Proserpina.
You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you?
You're right, I'm from 2,000 years in the future.
2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please, tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us? Of this city?
Okay, so let me explain NFTs. You can literally do the thing, potentially. You'd all been turned into golden statues.
I have imagined it. Our downfall 1,000 times. But it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it.
How do I explain the future? There's a significant chance that you're featured in a dating sim made in, Ren'Py? Is it called Ren'Py? Yeah, that one. How does the ritual work?
All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future?
I did see human remains in the temple.
I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you?
I'll do my best.
Well, I suppose that's all I can ask for.
Why can't you investigate?
Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot.
Fair enough. Do you have any suspects?
Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better.
How do I know you're not the person responsible?
Me? Why would you suspect me? I've just told you, I'm about to sacrifice my own life to ensure these people have a second chance. What reason could you possibly have to suspect me, of all people?
Because we're not solving a murder, bro. It's literally someone sins once. Do you know how easy it is to sin? Fair point. It's not a fair point.
I'm glad you think so. Without trust, without each other, we won't be able to prevent what is about to happen.
What if the sin is that you commit suicide by doing the ritual? Come on, tell me what you really think.
Well, all right. There are those who wish to vote me out of office so that they can pursue their own misguided political agenda. Frankly, their selfishness and recklessness risk destabilizing the entire city. I would be looking very carefully at them if I were you.
So we have two primary plot lines to question right now. One, 3 people are missing, so they could be up to something, or something could have happened to them, or be happening to them, that is the sin. Or the ritual, not the ritual, I guess the ritual suicide, but he's probably going to do that in response to the things going bad. I didn't mean to say that one. The election is the second one. That is a high pressure situation that encourages something to go down, so that's concerning. If I do this, will you help me get back to my own time?
If I understand Prosperina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense?
Okay, I thought I misinterpreted something, but I did interpret it correctly. He did do the ritual, which brought me here, but it brought me back further back than when he did the ritual. When he said that he learned a ritual that would bring somebody to solve the problem, I'm like, okay, here I am. But then he said it'll kill him, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean it will kill you? I thought you did it already, because that's why I'm here. But now we're learning that he will do it in the future, and then I came back further in the past, apparently. Which raises questions. But he says I'm going to create a paradox. I think the simple fact that I showed up beforehand is already a paradox. Like, we already have a paradox where I'm trying to prevent you from... I don't know. I think this might already qualify. Time travel's weird, though. Something about bootstraps. Sure, why not? That's all the questions I had.
Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule?
Nah, I think it'd be fun to just die. Doesn't seem like I have much of a choice.
No, I don't suppose you do. But I'm hoping that even if you're not burdened with a sense of self-sacrifice, you'll at least see the sense in self-preservation.
Good point. I'm in.
Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately.
All right, I'll get started.
Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the Shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
I'll see what I can do. What? I'll get right on it. This will prioritize the new quest showing its objective markers only. Sure. I'll get right on it. Alright, well, we're off to our start. I'm gonna be arguing with so many people and they can't hear me back. Does your authorization matter when you send me? They do have Sky here. He says they lose track of time, but I mean, there's a day-night cycle at the very least. I guess the rules will be a little bit different in this context, though. But he he authorized me to enter people's homes and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't think your authorization determines whether or not it's a sin. I don't know if we agree on the rules here, which admittedly nobody. That's terrifying that the rules are just interpretive. But all right, let's get this started. I'll see you guys next time. I want to see what happens. I'm excited.